friends, this is Scotty B. Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming a cosplayer who has turned tragedy into triumph. A truly selfless individual, his story matches those characters he portrays, most notably a symbol of light coming out of darkness. He has given his time, energy, resources, and hope to so many in need, and we're honored to tell his story today. Please welcome the Batman of San Antonio himself, Anthony De La Garza, to the show.
Thank you very much. Love the intro. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for being here. You have such an amazing story to tell, and you have done so many wonderful things. I've been following you for quite a while and just watching. So you were on Ken's 5 San Antonio to tell this story. And of course, this was a story about a victim of inattentive driving. You talked to your first responder, and there's more to say about that. Really, that you both almost saved each other through this tragic event. It's a story within a story about becoming Batman and pursuing such a worthy cause, which you do now every day.
It was December the 20th, and I had just one of those long, stressful days that anybody that works retail knows all about. And I I kind of need to just go off and get a run in and kind of clear my head. Finished up my lap, and I was heading across the street to go home. And there was someone who was, driving, wasn't paying attention, very late, and I got hit. I got hit by a car, and literally flew up, did a 360, landed on her dashboard. And people always think, when you get struck or hit by a vehicle, that you would breathe in. It's a natural reaction, like it's a gas, and it's the complete opposite. All the oxygen just
Comes
expelled.
out. Wow.
And I tend to have a lower timbered voice. And the best thing I could come out once she hit me, which is like, oh my God, he's dead, he's dead. I was just like, I'm not dead. Just with whatever was left in my lungs. And she continues to kind of drive, hits the brakes, squeals, and I fly about 50 yards face first into a tree. And it just looks like something out of a cartoon. Like Tom and Jerry when he's just flying face first.
Yeah.
Bust
Wow.
my glasses. I have bark and everything stuck in my face, and my clothes I didn't realize were completely shredded. And I just kind of slide down the bark of the tree, and I'm just there. She gets out and she kind of kicks at me and believes me to be dead and takes off. So it's now a hit and run. So I'm just there, just a mass of humanity just laying on the side of the road in the middle of the night practically. And I remember there's this really large red truck that kind of pulls over, and somebody comes out. He just checks on me, like, what could this be? And it was me. It was a first responder, thankfully, and he pulls out this enormous walkie-talkie, and he's like, do you know your name? Do you know your age? And I tell him, my name is Anthony. This is how old I am. And he starts calling it in, gets paramedic over to me, and he stays with me, and just a brilliant, wonderful guy. And of course, they're doing everything, and go to the hospital, have to take care of everything. Fast forward, I just decide, seeing all these the kids that are battling so much more serious things than I was while I was in the hospital. I gained weight because the entire left side of my body was fractured, and I'm just kind of feeling sorry for myself. Like, I'm fat now, and I can't do this, and I can't work, and blah blah blah. And I see kids, that are burned and missing limbs, and they just have the greatest outlook, that I'm alive and I can do this and I can beat this. And I really started to feel ashamed. I was like, I'm alive, just like these kids. And yeah, I gained some weight, but I can get it off. So I was inspired by them. And, I loved Batman. I'm like, triumphed over tragedy. So I'm going to get back and I'm going to lose weight. And if I can get this set goal weight, I'm going to literally quit my job, and I'm going to just become Batman. I'm going to be an inspiration for anyone who needs it. Young, old, does not matter. And I got my target weight. I walked into work and I told them, I'm out. Thank you so much. And they had no idea what that was all about. Nobody knew my journey but me, and it caused a lot of grief and strife between friends and family. Like, why would you give up, this could be great trajectory of a career? And I was like, I know what I need to do. And so I started working with some great artists, and I started putting together a bat suit, and that was it. The Batman of San Antonio was pretty much born. And little over a year later, uh, my phone goes off, my Facebook page, and there's this guy's like, I've, I've followed you, and I'm just kind of at the end of my rope, and I just, going through a lot of hard times. I'm going through a divorce, and I'm really feeling that I should just kill myself, just end it all. And I read this, and it just strikes me, I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what I want. I want to help somebody. And so I messaged him, and I told him, for the fact that you reached out to me and you messaged me, a complete stranger, tells me you do not want to kill yourself. You need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to listen, more importantly. And so I stayed with him all night. And I'm like, please don't do this. Is the one act that you cannot take back. You can say something cruel, and you can apologize, and you can repent for it. You can do something stupid. There's always a way back, but that is the one course of action that you cannot come back from. And so I got him help, and he talked. He's like, you know what, you're right. I have to push forward and move and do this. And years later, I'm recanting the story, as I am to you and to the listeners. And lo and behold, he's listening. And he's like, wow, he's talking about me. But what he didn't realize was that guy years ago that he found on the side of the road and called the paramedics and possibly saved my life, years later paid it forward, and in a weird way paying it back, and I saved him. So he messaged me, and he was like, oh my God, man, you were the guy. I always wondered what happened to you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here, and I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do. And you were the guy that I saved. He's like, you saved me. And so it was just this beautiful moment to where you realize, we are all one person. There's this invisible threads that we make with people that we never really know if we're going to see them again, but they do happen. And that was just one of the most beautiful stories that I have of being Batman from tragedy.
Incredible to go through such a traumatic event and come out on the other side with so much positivity, but then to be able to help somebody who was actually involved in what was happening that day.
Yeah.
And turn their entire life around as well. I mean, that's just one, that's just the origin story, much like Batman, this is year one, and then it grows from there. And that's, I think, the just, it's so inspiring. It makes you feel good inside to hear these things. And it's, at least for me, it makes you want to do more. I have a couple of quotes. We've kind of gone down the road of how everything happened, but you had a quote in an interview with Spectrum Local News, and you said, "Every great hero comes from a terrible tragedy, and this is your road to becoming something more than you are now." And really, it's very much almost a superhero origin. Had you cosplayed at all before anything had happened?
No, I was always a big fan of Halloween, but I never cosplayed at all.
Wow. And here we are. Cosplay is on its just by itself kind of something that grows on you. You've created so many wonderful moments. One of them being a skydiving adventure that you went on with Skydive Lone Star, really displaying your fearlessness, much as Batman does in this instance, and was also part of a very worthy cause to help raise money and prevent child abuse. Really, how did you like skydiving? Was it scary? Was it second nature?
It was my first time. Luckily, I'm not afraid of heights, and I got called out on Facebook, and it was a challenge. Like, hey, we challenge Batman to jump out. If he's really willing to do something for children that are in need, and especially children that face difficulties, abuse and everything. And so I thought, yeah, absolutely. So of course, I had to clear with the boss, the wife, and my daughter. And I, was kind of psyching myself up. And of course, they had their reservations and everything. So the day before the jump, I was left alone with my thoughts and a piece of paper and a pen, and I just wrote down everything I needed her to know, just in case something didn't quite go right. And I just put everything out on a pen and paper. And there I was, and I had told my team, and they're like, hey, we want to go out, we want to support you. And so they actually went out in costume, the Alliance. Huge shout out to my team, the Bat Alliance, great people. And they were there. And I actually had two of my friends, Aquaman and Green Lantern, decided after I jumped, they were going to jump because they were so inspired to do it. And so it was a lot of fun. But the the only real drawback to jumping out of the plane was I did it with the cowl, with the rubber cowl.
Oh,
And rubber cowl and jumping out of an airplane, not a good mix. It was very difficult, very loud, but it was for a great cause. It was for children, and I was so happy and proud to do it. And I've never loved the ground more.
that's really only one example of events that you've done since becoming the Batman of San Antonio. You've done superhero birthday parties, charity events, hospital visits, and special guest appearances, and really without skipping a beat, without any loss of energy, without losing enthusiasm. You're always present in everything that you do and everything that you share on social media, on Instagram, and on Vero, and in other spaces. Really, how do you do what you do, spread so much positivity and excitement and motivation for your community, and keep that superhero spirit?
Number one, a big part of it comes from loving what you do. So that definitely helps. And like I'm human, like anyone else. I have my good days and my bad days, but there is never a bad day when I'm in the cowl. Whatever's going on outside of it, I leave outside of it. And I realize that every adult, every child that I see, it could be their very first time seeing me. And I'm not going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. They want to see a hero. They want to see me, up and peppy and everything. And the first few times being Batman was very awkward for me because it was the Christian Bale suit. It was beautiful but heavy and hot, and I tried to really be Christian Bale and failed because I am not Christian Bale. And then the more you do it, the more I did it, I got comfortable with who I was and the best parts of my personality that I've always wanted to see out. That became the character of the Batman of San Antonio. So I laugh and I joke and I'm upbeat and I do all that stuff. So when I'm posting or anything, that initial feeling of when I first saw myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh my God, it's Batman. It still stays with me no matter what character I do. And when I'm there and I see my team and I see Wonder Woman and Green Arrow and Aquaman and Green Lantern and all those guys, I'm like, holy crap, I am surrounded by superheroes and we are making people happy. How can you not be jazzed by that?
It does help to keep that in the back of your head while you're doing it. Is there's so much going on here that's just so worthwhile. Like it's fun, and you can feed off of everybody else's energy because of the character that you are, the characters that are around you. It's so fantastic. To name a few of the events that you have been a part of, there was the El Paso Strong, San Antonio Threads, Heroes and Fantasies, Batman Day, and the Holiday Hero Toy Drive, the Walk to End Epilepsy, Out of the Darkness Walk, Haven for Hope, Walk to End Alzheimer's. You've done Ronald McDonald's house visits. The list goes on and on and on. I could probably spend the better part of the episode just naming all of the things that you've done for your community. But what would you tell someone who's trying to find community events like these to be a part of and to get started in being able to give back through cosplay?
Be active in your community. Even before I became Batman, I was civic minded, and I would try to give back. So the cosplay is just an added bonus, but it's know who your local leaders are, know what kind of events are in your neighborhood, and literally start off in your neighborhood, uh, and just be aware. Talk to other cosplayers, talk to good people, go to your local comic store. Social media is a great place to really kind of just step your foot in, but nothing beats experience. Just going out there, and it doesn't have to be the world's greatest costume. And I will be messaged by people like, hey, I have a fantastic costume, and I want to join the team. And the first thing I tell anybody is, I don't care about your costume. You can have the best costume, but the worst attitude, and it's going to fall apart. You can walk in with a Party City suit, whether it's Spider-Man or Superman or whatever the case may be. But if you're hyped up and you're jazzed and all you want to do is just do good, and like, hey, they're collecting, toys for this, or they're raising money for this, or whatever the case may be, and gone through the proper channels, and you've made sure that people are aware that you're going to be there, because you never want to crash an event ever. And people know that you're going to be there. Like, hey, I would just like to take a few photos and just let people know what you all are doing, and I would be there, and I'd love to take pictures or help out in any way I can. That's the best way to do it. And again, costumes do not matter. Whether it's homemade, whether you think it's not as good as it could be. There's so many cosplayers, Scott, and I'm sure I've seen your show. I've heard it. We all start somewhere. And the costumes progressively get better. You have so many guests that they've been doing it for 10 years, and you look at somebody, you're like, wow, I want that suit, but you don't realize the first suit wasn't that great. It was the equivalent of maybe a towel around the neck and a superhero t-shirt, but you keep at it, you chip at it. Like everything in life, you get progressively better.
But you started off kind of as a solo act, we'll say, much like Batman. Batman didn't have too many people around him when he got started. We'll probably see another rendition of that soon with the new Batman movie that's coming out, which is much earlier in his career versus what we're used to seeing a couple years ago with Batfleck, and of course with the Justice League movie that just came out from Zack Snyder. But you have grown the Bat Alliance, which you've mentioned already on the show. And it's a group that comes together to help in the community in so many different ways. Would you like to talk about how it was founded, what you're working on with them now, if anything, and how you work together to inspire both yourself, each other, and support the charity events and fundraisers in San Antonio?
I've had a few teams prior to that, and just for different reasons, things sometimes just don't work out. And it's a recipe. You try to find the right people. And when I decided, this, I want to get the definitive team. I want to get people that I would be happy to just allow in my home and be friends, and take this thing off and let them see my face. And I got contacted by Green Arrow, and he was like, hey, you know what? I've kind of always wanted to cosplay. I have this really cool suit, but I don't have anything to do, and I don't I don't know where to go. I don't have an avenue. And so I remember it was terribly raining, and we were doing an event at the San Antonio Food Bank for a wonderful nonprofit organization called Special Reach that helps children with special needs. And so I was like, you're more than welcome to come on. It's raining cats and dogs, but I thought, we'll see. If he can show up in this rain, this might be my guy. And he shows up, and he's, in green leather, and it's soaking wet, and he just jumped into it like fish to water, which was good because there was a lot of rain. And I was like, man, this is fantastic. So it was the two of us, it was both of us. And then I got reached out by Wonder Woman, and, she was amazing. I'm like, yes, we need a Wonder Woman on the team. She's like, I had a Wonder Woman suit. I went to a local comic convention, and this little girl came up to me. She's like, I love you. And she goes, I took a picture with her, and I was hooked. So she sent me this email. I'm like, yes, definitely, we'll give you an audition. We have my Green Lantern, which I have known for years. And he was, kind of a heavier guy. And he's like, I'm going to lose a lot of weight, and I am going to be a superhero. And he did it, man. Every day, he's on the treadmill, and he's running. And he's like, I want to be Green Lantern. Come on in. Let's do this, man. We're friends. I would love to have you aboard. We have my nephew, Robin, since he was, 2 years old, cosplaying as Robin. I'm like, he's a part of the team too. And, then we just started getting Aquaman, who was a friend of Wonder Woman's. We have junior members. We have a kid, Flash, who we met through another wonderful nonprofit organization. And so the team just gets bigger and bigger. And there's one kid who's been on my team, no longer a kid, he's 21 years old, but I met him when he was 12 years old at a convention we were doing, or a showing for Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. And I took a picture with him, and 3 years later, he ends up being my Nightwing. So I'm really proud that the people that I've known in previous events and everything, and we've just come together, and we click, and that's the wonderful thing. And they love what they do, and because of COVID, we weren't able to do a lot last year. This year we're kind of coming out swinging. We did an event for a nonprofit called Ferrari Kid, where we took children that are battling different hosts of illnesses to watch Space Jam and do Legacy. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that just came out.
Yeah. So we're doing a Stuff the Bus event where we're raising, we're collecting school supplies for underprivileged families. And then we're also simultaneously on the same day going to do an event for the Boys and Girls Club. So it's getting to the point where, I feel that we can go out and we can be safe, with everyone's health and my team's health. Then yeah, we're just going to jump in and do it. But again, just wonderful people. I absolutely love them. And we're just the best of friends. We text each other all the time, silly memes, funny jokes, whatever the case may be, but they're angels, each and every one. And I love them to death.
A while back on Christmas, you went on an adventure to help out a young hero make his Christmas wish of having a Batmobile Transformer, which was a Batmobile that transformed into Batman, come true. A year later, the family returned the favor with a huge thank you, remembering what you did in going just above and beyond to make the holiday special for them. You've really done so much during the holidays to make a difference in a young person's life. But I guess the question for me is, how did you find a Batmobile that transformed into a Batman? I think you had it, the way that you put it was even akin to something from like Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad when they're looking for Turbo Man. It's one of my favorite movies. Was it really like a Christmas gift hunt, or how did everything go for that?
Oh well, the little boy is named Damien, and I've been lucky enough to do a few things for him. The Christmas wish came from, he was actually in the hospital, and his parents reached out to me. They're like, he's not doing that well. He really needs his spirits, lifted. Could you just pay him just a little visit? And so I was like, yes, absolutely. I remember getting off of work, and I had my bat suit in the car. And so there I am in a Mini Cooper, putting on a bat suit, which is very tight. Uh, I'm kind of parked out of the way. I'm like, all right, get this thing on, pull the zipper up. I'm like, all right, I'm Batman. Black, I'm doing this. Went inside, met him. He just lit up. And I'm like, Christmas is coming up. What would you like? And, he sees his mom and his dad there. And he's like, I really want to transform Batmobile. And I was like, really? And the mom and dad were like, no. Kind of like, we've checked, we've looked, can't find it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be very good friends with Santa Claus. So I think you get it. And they kind of give you this look like, oh, no. And so you were there, finish up. The mom and dad walked me out. I said, don't worry, I've got this. This is not on you. If anything goes wrong, squarely on my shoulders. And so there I am, wife and I are out, and I'm like, we got to find this thing, because I definitely put my bat boots in my mouth, and I promised him that we're going to get this. So, we go to a Walmart, we, start checking out different places where it could possibly be. And we're just done. We're kind of at the end of my rope. And I'm like, just go to Walmart. There's a few things we have to get, some Christmas lights and everything for the tree. And so there we are. And we happen to be going down the Barbie aisle to look for more stuff for my little girl. And what do I see on the very top shelf? That huge transforming Batmobile. I'm like, we've got it. And so my wife's like, Jesus, calm down. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm like, we got to get this. So I immediately messaged the team, like, hey guys, this is it. I found it. We're good, because I had everybody on the hunt. Like, Wonder Woman's out there, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, the whole team is just scouring the city. I'm like, if you find this thing, let me know. I will Zelle you, I will, PayPal you, whatever the case may be, but somebody needs to get it. And so everybody's like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank goodness. Oh God, that's so great. So, immediately buy it. Like, I'm holding on to this thing. I'm not even putting it in the basket, because during the holidays, people will pull from baskets.
Oh, yes.
My arm, I'm 6'2". I'm like, I think I'm okay with this. So, walking over there, pay for the thing, wrap it up in Batman wrapping paper. The team and I are there. We drop it off to him, and he is just in seventh heaven. And I was so glad that was something that we were able to do. It wasn't just me, because like I said, the entire team, they're like, the Target over here doesn't have it. Target on this side of town doesn't have it. We'll get it. And it was great. It really was something out of a Christmas movie. A bunch of superheroes looking for a transformer.
You have created. You've made several of your own suits. You have bat suits that you've created. You're working on a Mandalorian suit currently, which is just awesome. the bat suit on its own, just coming up with the design and doing everything for it can be a full-time job in and of itself. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the suit and what went into creating a bat suit, and with as much as you wear it, how you maintain it and keep it clean?
Let's see. The very first suit I got was made by a wonderful artist named Ron Stillwell, and he's from My Superhero Guy, and it was basically an exact replica of what Christian Bale wore. And then I started, going every year. I try to update the suits, something a little bit different. If I can come up with some custom designs for gauntlets or belts, I definitely do it. And it's a lot of just trial and error, going through templates and everything. I've worked with tons of different artists. Snakebit Studios, Super Geek Designs, GC5 Effects. I'm like, hey, I've got an idea for a cow like this, or I kind of want to do this, or I'd like to do this. And so they ship me things, and I get it and I put it together. And so I have tons of them, and they make sure that they're cleaned. If they're washable, they definitely get washed after every single event, because the bat suits do get hot. You
Mhm.
have to polish up the cows, make sure that they're going to look good and they're not going to dry out, because they will dry out after a while. So you want to take good
Oh,
care of. I made a few. I made the Justice League armored suit, and that was painstaking. It was a lot of little parts, a lot of craft foam, hot glue, and everything. I designed one bat suit that I really liked, and it was kind of an amalgamation of everything. And I uh, talked to some folks called White Sheep Leather, and I'm like, this is my design. Could this possibly be done? They're like, absolutely. And so they did it, and they sent me a very basic piece of what I needed, the suit and everything. And then I, with an airbrush, just started to add more detail and musculature to it, make it a little bit more my own. And so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, every year I try to update them and clean them. And there's some that, through the materials that are made, or they have leather, you have to be very careful with how you clean them. So what you do is you do a 50-50 of vodka and water, and that's how they actually clean suits on Broadway. They can't be dry cleaned every day. You put it
oh,
inside out, you spray that thing, and it disinfects it, and you're good to go for the next round. So any cosplayers out there, if you have something that is dry clean only, or it's very very delicate and you don't want it to be ruined, vodka and water, 50-50 makes spray bottle, takes care of it beautifully.
okay. Well, I will definitely keep that in mind for my Riddler suit and anything else that comes down the path. I also have I'm working on a Cyclops Age of Apocalypse that's got quite a bit to it as far as just things that you probably wouldn't want to wash in the washing machine.
Yeah.
That's a really good tip. I appreciate that for sure. You said that putting on the cape and cowl allows me to unlock the best parts of who I am and hopefully inspire others. There are days that are long, or the heat becomes nearly unbearable, or mobility is limited. But my God, there is nothing else in this world I would rather do. I love the people I've met, the team I'm blessed to work with, and all the events yet to come. Such a great thing to say, and really, I guess the moral of that is, it gets tough, but you keep going, you keep moving forward, um, and really, what I guess, not really a final or parting thought, but how would you, I guess, just best summarize those things that you've said to people who might need to be inspired or who are listening to the podcast and might need a few words of encouragement?
Find what you're passionate about, and it does not matter what anyone in the outside world says. If it's something that brings you joy and it brings you happiness, grab onto it with both hands, because the biggest nightmare that you will ever have is the dream that you don't chase. So if you love it, whether it's you know cooking or working on vehicles or building something, or even just taking care of your home, it what doesn't matter what it is. If it makes you happy and it brings you that true joy, it'll expel in everything else you do. Whether you're going to the grocery store or you're going to the post office, you're going to be happy, and you are going to say thank you to somebody who maybe isn't having the greatest day, and they clearly have a frown, but you genuinely tell them like, hey, I appreciate you. If when I see my postal driver, and they've got a package or it's a UPS guy, so I'm like, hey man, I appreciate you. They they light up. They're like, wow, man, sometimes it seems like a boring, tedious job, but this guy appreciates what I do. So again, it doesn't matter whether it's cosplay or cooking or anything else. If you love it and people are like, you're crazy for chasing after this, well, it brings me joy. It makes me happy.
I agree with that, and I would definitely encourage anybody who is looking to give back to their community to give that some really good thought. Just give it a good thought and see what you can do. There's really no harm in it. Give it a try, and if you do have the time and you can certainly do give back, it's just such a great feeling to be able to do things like that. And again, thank you so much for everything that you've done, and for for bringing together the Bat Alliance and being able to spread so much positivity and also give so much hope to the community, to be a part of the fundraisers, to be a part of all the events that you have, and really looking forward to the things that you'll be doing in the future. Thank you so much. And I hope you don't mind me for saying this, but thanks, Batman.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. This has been a
Um,
blast.
where can we find you, and how can we support you online?
You can find me pretty much anywhere at the Batman of San Antonio, whether it's Facebook, Vero, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to reach out through email, if somebody has an event going on, it's Batman of San Antonio at gmail.com. And that doesn't just pertain to me, it pertains to the team as well. So maybe if you need just Wonder Woman to show up for an event, sometimes we have very female centric events and it's girls only. Well, we've got Raven and we've got Wonder Woman. So you can still, again, Batman of San Antonio at Gmail. Let me know what you need. And if we can get out there and we can help you, we are absolutely thrilled to do so.
Oh, that's so great. And we will have all of the links and everywhere that you can contact Batman of San Antonio and his group in the show notes below. Again, thank you so much. I hate to come to an end because I just feel like we could go on and on and on to just talk about all of the remarkable things that you've done and just becoming Batman, and really from everything inside of me, thank you so much for being on the show. Friends, this is the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary podcast and the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary on YouTube. We will see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.